Another big draft show for you today. Emory Hunt. He is awesome. We're going to get some new perspective. I don't know where my co-hosts are right now. Oh, look, there they are. 6, 7, 8. You guys are doing it at different paces. Braggs is definitely winning right now. You don't have a mic. No one can hear you. Carm keeps going. Carm loses. Braggs wins. We're starting the show with push-ups. Here we go. CHGO Bears.
All right, Greg is stronger than me. I just needed that confirmation, and now I've got it. It is the CHGO Bears Podcast on a Friday. Big show coming at you, and we are live from the Xfinity Loft. We got a caffeinated Hoge. We've got a – look at those arms. Yeah, Gregory, you won that. I petered out. I did. I got a
How many
tired.
did you do?
Like 20.
Yeah, but mine were I was slower with more is harder, and you
Slower
were,
is harder.
so that's what I was trying.
They
You know,
look good
I mean, look
enough
at
for
me.
If you're listening to the podcast and wondering what's going on, we do a thing called a cold open on the YouTube version, and these two people did push-ups.
It is fair to do the push-ups because on Friday,
You're out of breath. I'm not out of breath.
on Friday, I'm not going to the gym. So there we are.
But you didn't go yesterday either.
I did.
I don't believe you.
Well, nobody asked me yesterday, and it was really disappointing that no one cares except for like somebody out there cares. I lost to the Drake passage.
On Wednesday you lost?
Yeah, but I won the first set 6-3 Hoge, and I was feeling great, and I was
who cares?
It was amazing.
Nobody cares.
And then I lost the second set 6-0, and then it was a 10-point tie break, and I was up.
I'm actually
I lost.
I'm actually at the gym right now.
There you go.
That's congratulations. Yeah. All right. Look, hey, we've got
Come to our draft party
Yep. Come to our draft party.
coming up. We're 13 days away, people. $10 tickets. Go to allchgo.com/events, and you'll find the link to Thursday and Friday nights parties at Joe's on Weed Street. Shout out to IDOT for getting in on the action and sponsoring our amazing draft parties, which are a lot of fun, and there's going to be a lot of fans out there. Tickets, while they are still available, are within your grasp. Head to allchgo.com/diehard. Use the QR code on your screen. You get a discount on that event.
I say this every year, but I prefer Friday night.
Friday's fun.
I think Krista might be coming Friday, and we might even stay in the city, and we'll take our ride share
Krista Friday?
wherever we go. Well, I like the music. There's music on after the thing. It's just
It was a great-
What else do you have to do on Friday night of draft weekend? You're gonna be paying attention to the draft anyway. Spend $10, come to the bar.
Exactly right.
Bottom line, $65 too. All you can drink on a Friday night in Chicago. That's like highway robbery. That's a steal. I mean, like can't even think about doing that, but you can do it at our draft party.
Especially at a bar like Joe's on Weed Street.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Jaqueline will not be there, but maybe she'll come on Thursday. All right. So more importantly than that, we got Emory Hunt to start the show here today. CBS Sports HQ.
Yep.
He is a draft guru.
Football game plan. He's got a draft guide that's extremely extensive. So
Yeah, we actually taped this a little bit earlier, so we could tell you right now in advance that this interview is awesome. I honestly, I would hire this guy to be a general manager. Listen to him talk today. He's that good. I'm not kidding. Would you? Like that, this guy is phenomenal.
Yeah, of the Bulls, we could use one right now.
Well, okay, fine. We'll leave polls. Ryan, you're doing a great job.
We're not to put. Yeah. Well, there's other
somewhere.
teams.
I'm
no,
just saying
Emory Hunt could be a GM in the NFL.
He could be a GM in the NFL.
Yeah.
Assistant GM at least.
But instead, he's on with us,
which is good
right now.
Right now.
All right, let's bring in Emory Hunt.
Yeah.
CBS Sports.
Yeah.
CBS Sports HQ, owner of Football Game Plan. You can get his draft guide at footballgameplan.com. You've probably seen his work all over, and Emory does a great job. So we're pleased to have him here on CHGO Bears. Emory, getting closer and closer to this draft. Is the hay in the barn for you, or are you still making those final adjustments?
No, once the draft guide is complete, that's it. That's my thing. I went to all 9 All-Star games, watched all the film I needed to watch on these players, and put together the largest, most comprehensive draft guide that has the most scouting reports in it, more than anyone's draft guide out there. I can say that confidently because, again, there's over 1,200 players in it. That means there's over 1,200 pages. So that's what you want if you're a draft person.
When you're doing a comprehensive look like that and you hear, and it's kind of been parroted so many times this offseason, that this is a weaker draft class, do you take exception to that in terms of people maybe not doing the same amount of homework that you're doing?
Bingo. Because if someone would have purchased my draft guide since 2020, right now they would have over 6,600 individual scouting reports at their disposal, which means you have a good gauge on the entire league. So for someone that goes as deep as I do in terms of the evaluation process, it's always a deep draft class. Sometimes you may have to dig a little deeper. And if you only go to the Shrine, Senior, and Combine, of course, your view is limited. But if you expand that to the College Gridiron Showcase, to the American Bowl, to the Hula Bowl, to the HBCU Legacy Bowl, to the East-West Bowl up in Canada, like, you're going to see so many doggone prospects. And you're going to be excited about these players, man. Even guys that don't go to All-Star games that their eligibility is done. You see the depth throughout the class, and you can understand why someone like myself always gets excited about the draft, because you can really see I tend to look at it like, man, I got 7 picks to get 7 starters on my football team. I don't see it as, after the second round, these are just throwaway picks. No, there's gold in them there hills, as the saying goes.
Do you, just to underline it one more time, or do you look at it like there are, I don't know, 5 blue chippers that you would say, I think these guys are going to be perennial Pro Bowl, potential Hall of Famers, and like that's what people keep saying, that at the top end the draft is light?
Well, for me, it's I would say, for me personally, 80s and above are those quote unquote blue chip guys that I would grade as a future Pro Bowler at some point in their career, and those are about 17. You don't really give that out to everybody, and so there's a good crop of guys. The rest of them are guys that I feel like that can help you out, be solid starters, be contributors, and that's fine, because that's ultimately what the NFL is. It's the majority of those guys. And on the other small end of the bell curve is those blue chip type of Pro Bowl type players. But the league is made up of that big bell in the middle, and that's what a draft class is.
So, all right, 17 of those guys, the team we cover here in Chicago is picking 25th.
Who we getting?
Let's, honestly, though, like in that range, typically one of those 17, because everyone's boards are going to look a little different, right? Like, so there's a chance that one of those guys is still there at 25. But as you evaluate this thing and look at it from that Bears perspective, like what could be still a good option of if one of your 17 you think could maybe still be around there for the Chicago Bears?
Well, it depends, because here's the thing. This was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. My number one combo safety, maybe it was 3 years ago, my number one combo safety went undrafted. And so he ends up signing with the team, ends up becoming the starter and a Pro Bowler. And now he's with the new team where a new head coach brought him over, and that's Ardarius Washington of the Baltimore Ravens, where he went undrafted out of TCU. I was just a big fan of his game and what he put on tape. So obviously my view is going to be different to tie it to the Bears. I had a high grade on Isaac Trapillo. He didn't go in the first round. I had a good grade on Theo Benedict because I saw him at UBC, multiple years. So for the Bears, if I'm looking at what they need and where they can go, it all depends on what position I feel like they are, they can use. I think if they want to go receiver, they could, whichever receiver they feel like fits best. If they want to go, interior offensive line, I would, considering we got the big shock this offseason, I wouldn't have a problem with that because I told people before, big tackle propaganda has kind of fooled people in thinking tackle, tackle, tackle. And really, guard center guard is where you have successful offense. And if you are not stout there, you won't have protection, a pocket to step up in, a run game to speak of. So even if they want to shock people and go center, I wouldn't even be upset with that. That's why a guy like Caleb Alomo could make sense, or someone they feel like can move to center will be there as well. So I just feel like the Bears can go in many different spots because they've done a good job the last 2 seasons of stockpiling their roster with talent on both sides. Even if they want to go corner and add more depth there, I feel like people are going to be sleeping on D'Angelo Pons just because he's 5'8", but he plays bigger than his size. So I feel like the Bears do have a bevy of options at their disposal.
Wow.
Yeah, shout out to you, by the way, for Theo. If you found Theo as the Bears did, but as an undrafted free agent, because his story up in Canada is crazy. So let me ask you this: I know you don't want to give away all your secrets. People should be checking out footballgameplan.com and getting the draft guide. But I mean, can you tell us about a guy right now that you feel you're Theo Bennett this year that you feel like you've evaluated, you've seen, most haven't, that is really a big sleeper in this draft?
I was shocked that not a lot of people are talking about Kentucky's guard Jalen Farmer. He's my number 1 guard in this class, and when I look at linemen, any position, the first thing I look for is technique, because technique is going to carry you further than anything. As you age, speed drops off, your explosiveness drops off, but your technique will keep you staying and keep. That's the foundation. And his technique is flawless. His hands stay inside, feet always come with him. He's always getting movement. And I thought, like, man, this is one of the more consistently technically sound guards I've seen. And so, man, I just like the way he plays. Everyone, and then you watch the Georgia game where you're going to get a true 1-to-1 because everybody on Georgia's team is built the same. They are built like nobody else around the country. And so you're like, he's moving these big dudes up out the way consistently. This is someone that I think matches up well to the NFL level. But I think people are now viewing him as a day 3. I listen, I don't care. That's someone that's the one dude I would say no one is as high on as I am about him. And again, I'm a big Mansour Delane fan too, because the reason why I like him out of LSU, the cornerback, is because I hate bail technique, because so many DBs try to do it, but they suck at it, and because they can't get back to the ball once the ball is thrown. But Delane can do it. He clicks and closes and back that way, and able to turn the ball over, able to pick the ball off, can play inside, field side, boundary side, slot, corner. He can do it all. That's one of those other players that I would say, him and Monroe Freeling are my 3 guys in terms of like I got high grades on.
Who do you like as a defensive tackle, Emory, that falls in the 25 to 125 range that potentially is there for the Bears?
Well, it's sad because if he's healthy, he's not going to be there. But therein lies the problem, because we've seen this before with big guys with foot problems all the way in, going into basketball. That's what doomed Greg Oden. And someone like Caleb Banks from Florida. And it's funny, I grade him as my number 1 defensive tackle, even though he's built like a nose tackle. That speaks volumes of his burst and his explosiveness off the ball. My number 1 nose tackle is Caden McDonald from Ohio State. Just phenomenal up top. Him and Christian Miller of Georgia, comical at how they just dominated, opponents. Big Citrus, Dominic Orange, another one that's built like a nose tackle, but he's my number 3 defensive tackle, right behind Peter Woods of Clemson, who's built like your standard defensive tackle. But Orange is someone I was shocked at how consistent his pad level was, his hand placement, and how strong he was, and how quickly he disengages from blocks. And watching Peter Woods was someone that I was just frustrated with for him, because it's like, man, why are they moving him around? But now when you look at it from, okay, what can he potentially be as a pro? You're like, okay, I like that they moved him around, because now I get to see him, as an edge. I could see him as a 1 tech. I could see him as a 3. But man, we talk about down the line, Caleb Proctor, Southeastern Louisiana, did exactly what you're supposed to do as a small school prospect, you dominate in the games versus upper level competition. I thought he did exactly that against LSU, Louisiana Tech. So anytime they played a team above them, he was able to show up and show out. So that will be someone down the line that could be there that could help you out instantly up front.
What am I missing on Lee Hunter? Because when I look at him, I see a big dude who is moving awful well. I'm like, this guy's got to be – I would bet that he's going to become a problem if he can stay healthy, which hasn't been really an issue for him. But people don't like him because of the vertical, or I'm not exactly sure what I'm missing because I like him.
You just said a mouthful right there, because why are we even counting what we're seeing from the combine with the defensive tackle? Because if you go and watch the Oregon game, play one, swim over guard, blow up the running back. It was like, yo, all right, seen enough, rubber stamp, I'm good. Like, so That's exactly what you get from Lee Hunter, the football player. That's what you want to see. Someone that can go out there and do what you expect a defensive tackle to do. If I'm drafting a defensive tackle based on how I worry about his vertical, get me out of the football business. Like, I'm worrying about the dude that's doing the thing that I'm gonna draft him to do the thing for my football team. That's where a lot of teams whiff. That's where a lot of evaluators whiff. It's so funny to watch the whole conversation. During the season, it's all about tape. And then once we get to February, it's all about metrics. It's like, yo, you just said it was about the tape. And now you're worried about non-football drills, non-football events. Make it make sense. Lee Hunter, especially when you were just hyping up his reps one-on-one at the Senior Bowl, now you forget all that because he jumped whatever he jumped at the vertical, and now what you just saw live in football drills don't matter because of how he jumped in shorts in a tight shirt. Like, I just don't get it. Like, make it make sense for me. So, yes, I am all aboard the Lee Hunter train as well.
You know, Emory, what really stood out to me when you were kind of reeling off some guys earlier, you talked about Fran Duffy is our all-city draft guy here with what we do across 5 different cities, and you guys do such an amazing job. And yesterday we were talking with some diehards, and he singled out D'Angelo Pons. And I think cornerback has become somewhat of a sleeper pick there at 25 with the Bears, and losing Nashawn Wright. You still have Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson coming off, an injured year last year. What is it about D'Angelo Pons? I know he balled out. They won a national championship. He balled out in that game as well. So we all saw it on the big stage. But what is it about that I'm starting to hear from you guys that this should be the guy the Bears should take potentially?
Football is starting to get back in vogue because if we can go 11 months with no February, people will just stay strictly about the tape. Because February happens, and now people are like, oh, I mean, he's 5'8". Like, you just sat there and watched him dominate a full American college football season, and now you're worried about him being 5'8". Because what he was doing out there on the field in actual games had nothing to do with him being 5'8". It was about his eyes, his technique, his instincts, his ball skills, and his toughness. And when you look at him being an outside corner, because I have him as my number 1 field corner, so I trust him on the outside. I'm not going to, stereotype him and pigeonhole him to being a slot guy because of his height. I feel like he can play on the outside because I grew up in the era where I watched Aaron Glenn play on the outside. I watched Darryl Green play on the outside. I watched Frank Minifield play on the outside. So height be damn, that guy can play cornerback. And I love his ability to understand the situation. If you go back to the Ohio State game and watch him play bail technique, which I hate, but he plays it properly. He allowed the catches for Jeremiah Smith, but then he did exactly what you're supposed to do in that technique. Go make the tackle, and it was ball caught, no extra yards, made the tackle. Then once he got inside the green zone, they try to set up the fade ball. He took that away because he got great technique. So now you can't even try to use your height advantage on him because he is taking away the fade ball. So that shows you he understands spatial awareness, understands situational football, and that's why you're starting to see people come around to saying, like, okay, this is a legit first-round type corner.
Got to give a shout-out to Xfinity as a proud customer of Xfinity at the Braggs household. I'll tell you right now, If you're looking for reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, that's how you're going to get it. And if you can get it for the same price for 5 years, the only place you're going to get it is with Xfinity and their Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together. How many people are trying to stream 8 different devices in your house all at once? Everything starts lagging. That doesn't happen with Xfinity. All your devices working in perfect harmony for a 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Mark Carman.
Yep.
So lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
And Bears fans, keep your eyes up. Head on a swivel, just like a wide receiver going over the middle. Because you, when you're driving, need to stay alert for pedestrians. That is a part of every drive when you're on the road. Remember to watch those pedestrians. Be ready to stop. Cyclists are out there too. Chicago, those things will come out of nowhere. You never know where a bike's going to come from. Make sure you're ready for it. Riding alongside traffic. Share the road. Give them space when you pass. Check your mirrors. And always, Carm, look twice before you turn.
No doubt.
That's the IDOT message, man. That's
Love our
what
friends
we
at
do.
IDOT.
Let's make sure everyone reaches the end zone safely. 2025, 20% of Illinois roadway fatalities involved a bicyclist or a pedestrian. So eyes up, focus on the road. We thank IDOT. They're sponsoring our draft party. And if you're coming, make sure you get a ride share too. Make sure you take care of yourself, make smart decisions. And if you're driving, look for those pedestrians. Stop for pedestrians. Share the road. It's not a game. Just because you've mentioned it a couple times now and some of our listeners might not know what that means, can you explain the bell technique?
Oh, that's when you're playing off and you're kind of running with your back to the receiver, kind of, almost like you're keeping an eye on him, but you're kind of, in case he takes off down the field, you're in a good position just to go ahead on and just run. But if the ball comes short, you can kind of break, plant, and go back and get the football. The problem is people overestimate their hips and their agility. Like, if you can't play bell technique, don't do it. But I know it's sometimes coached. Like, some people do bell technique, some people play trail technique, where they kind of allow the receiver to get in front of them because they trust their makeup speed. But if you slow, why are you even trying to play trail technique? You know what I'm saying? So you see that a lot. So that's what bell is. That's what the difference between bell and trail. And you have a shuffle technique where they're playing off and they kind of shuffle, and keeping the play in front of them so where they can just plant and go and get the football.
It's so important.
Yeah. And Emory, that's why I keep telling my co-host here, Mark Carman, he's always overestimating his hips on the tennis courts. That's his issue.
And my bell technique is going to Taco Bell and dropping $32.48 on a nice meal.
Well,
we used to have this argument in college when we were playing pickup basketball, right? And one of my good friends on the team, we were like he's like 6'3", and so obviously I'm like, all right, bro, get in the paint. He's like, nah, I won't hand the ball. Like, bro, get your big butt in the paint. He was like, man, I'm 6'3". If I was in the NBA, I'd be a guard. I'm like, technically you're right, but get your big butt in the paint, man. Like, let me handle this ball. Like, we don't need you playing technicality and being out here in the perimeter. I need you to body up this dude in the paint. So understand your height and size in conjunction of what you're doing.
KYP, know your personnel.
Shout out pickup basketball, my favorite thing in the history of my life.
Okay, I'm going to link all this together because, and he won't mind me telling this because it was a long time ago. You know who used to do that all the time playing I used to play pickup basketball with Martellus Bennett. And that dude, all he wanted to do was shoot threes and play point guard. I'm like, you're Martellus Bennett, dude. Get your ass inside and just dunk on people. What are you doing?
That's different, though. He's got to stay healthy. He doesn't need to be getting physical and pick up hoops.
Oh, he didn't care about all that. He was going 110%.
Well, that's a problem, too. All right, let me bring it. I'll reel us back in here. I'll name one corner that I just got excited about here, Emory. Chris Johnson, smaller school, but the Bears have a Johnson playing corner. I don't know if Jalen's going to be here, and then I look at Tyreek. I don't know if he's going to be here. I'm trying to. You're talking about pounds, but I liked what I saw here with Chris Johnson. This seems like a dude that's going to be able to play in the league for a long time.
There are certain schools that I have earmarked as sight unseen. So if you in positions, if you told me you got a San Diego State defender or offensive lineman, cool, sight unseen. I'm in. K-State offensive lineman, sight unseen. Utah defensive player, offensive lineman, sight unseen, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Raging Cajun football analyst, sight unseen, you go and grab that guy, right? So I like Chris Johnson. He actually reminds me of my colleague Brian McFadden and how technically sound he is. They're about the same size, 6 feet, a little bit over 6'1", and long arms, patient, great awareness, can play off coverage well, where he's giving the receiver a chance to get off the line, but he reads, reacts, and is able to cut the receiver off and make a play on the ball. That right there in and of itself is just outstanding. Just having the patience of knowing when and where to be aggressive. A lot of cornerbacks get panicky when they're in coverage, and that leads to them misjudging their break or not judging the ball in the air. You don't get a panicky player from Chris Johnson. You get a sound player, technically sound player that's judicious in when and where to be aggressive.
He's got some pick sixes in there. You broke up when you said his comp. Who are you comparing him to?
My colleague at CBS Sports HQ, Bryant McFadden, former Pittsburgh Steeler.
There we go. There we go. Let's go on an edge rusher, because that's we've talked a lot about the edge rushers here in Chicago. It's an interesting class. I don't know if it's top heavy, but there's a lot of guys. I mean, in this group of edge rushers that maybe the Bears should get anywhere between their 25th pick and their 3rd round pick, who really stands out to you that you've fallen in love with?
Mason Rager of Wisconsin. You talk about someone that took advantage of his opportunity to ball out at an all-star game. And I know that could be a snapshot of what a guy does, but you go and watch his entire career at Wisconsin, and there it jives with what we saw at the Shrine Bowl. 3 sacks at the Shrine Bowl, defensive MVP, 6'4", 6'5", 250 plus, can really move, very fluid. I feel like Aiden Hubbard is an underrated player out of Northwestern, right in your backyard. Kind of reminds me a lot of Connor Barwin and how he attacks and gets after the quarterback. R. Mason Thomas, situational guy, but hey, his situation is very good. If you are a pass rusher and I can bring you in situationally to do your thing, do your thing. I know people also, or have mixed feelings about this next player, Harold Perkins, but hey, last time I checked, I just need you to do your one thing rather well. Go be fast and get the ball. And he does that better than a lot of people in this class. And he can, rush from the outside. He can be inside blitzer, but you like his ball awareness and ball instincts. And those are some of the edges that I've become fond of primarily in this class.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Bears certainly need help on that defensive line. They had trouble getting to the quarterback last year. One position that I keep getting hung up on is left tackle. You mentioned that you were big on Ozzie Trapillo and Theo Benedict coming into their drafts. You mentioned that it's more about the interior of the offensive line for a lot of teams in the NFL to be successful. That being said, Ozzie Trapillo had a pretty tough knee injury that's going to set him back about 12 months, it looks like. Theo Benedict's still in there and has a shot. They brought in Jedrick Wills. They've got, Braxton Jones still there. But I'm just curious, your perspective, would you be willing to push your chips in on one of these left tackle options at 25, whether it's Monroe Freeling or Caleb Lomu? You mentioned him, Caden Proctor, if he were to fall from Alabama. Would you go in on left tackle if you were Ben Johnson?
It depends, man, because Freeling would be, obviously the number 1 tackle in my opinion, because he's a true left tackle. The reason why I'm chuckling is because, everyone's kind of focused on the first round, which I got a running list of things in life that was a mistake. Number 1 is speakerphone. That clearly we wasn't ready as a human civilization for speakerphone. That no one is going to top that. We probably should do away with that. But my draft's got to be like number 3, because everybody gets focused on the first round. They misses the vastness of the class, because they'll think if we don't get a Monroe Freeling or if we don't get a Caleb Lomo, then we suck. We suck again. No, there's good players out there. Obviously, those guys would be great options. But if you bypass that and you're looking down the line, Demetrius Kronover of A&M, big body guy that can move and very good as well. You think about Markel King, big mammoth tackle from Miami, played opposite side of Francis Mawinoa. That would be a good pick if you're not trying to force it at early in the first round. But yeah, obviously, if Freeling is there. When the Bears picked, something went wrong in the previous 24 selections. Lomu, I get people are concerned about him, but I feel like for him, his issue is he gets to be a waist bender, which means he doesn't always bring his feet with him, which leads to him not having leverage, which leads to him getting beat by swim over moves and not having the power. So that's why people are concerned about him, and some may see him as more so of an interior lineman. But man, you talk about Cronover, you talking about someone like that can help you out long term. That you don't have to force the issue in the first round. Markel King as well. Then I think you'd be fine.
Emory, in a vacuum, as Greg likes to say, would you? Let's say one of the top two safeties are available for the Bears at 25. Are you attacking that spot there if you're Chicago, or are you like, hey, there's plenty that we can get later. Let's address something else.
I will. You talk about a top two safety, so that means Downs. Again, if Downs is there, then something went extremely wrong.
One. Yeah, no, not Downs. Take Downs out of there. I'm talking if Thieneman or my bad. If Thieneman or Warren are there, one of those two are there. Are you drafting a safety at that point?
I would take Thieneman over Warren. I feel like Thieneman has a little bit more juice. And I would even think about Kilgore more so than Warren. Jalen Kilgore, that is, out of South Carolina. Kilgore gives you a little bit of that versatility that you want nowadays, where he could cover a slot receiver, a bigger slot receiver, or a tight end kind of matchup. Kilgore's game reminds me a lot of, and it's not a true one-to-one, but it's about how someone can be a corner and now play safety but give you corner-like ability, and that's Antrell Roll. Same type of size, good awareness, good ball skills, good off the ball, great ability to play one-on-one. He would be an option. I would also look at someone like Traden Stukes of Arizona. Kind of gives you a little bit of that as well. Some may see him as an outside corner. Some may see him as a safety. I see him as a kind of hybrid where you can have, the best of both worlds. Warren is also a good option. I wouldn't go first round with Warren. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more. I think he's more of a second round type pick than a first round pick. First round pick, you need guys that can, hit it and go right away. And that's why Thieneman is interesting to me because of how well he plays. Now, if you want to go later, maybe outside of that crop of guys, Wisniewski is another one that people underestimate how great his feet are. He has great footwork for a strong safety. So now you can kind of match him up against a tight end in the slot if they want to go big and trust him to make a play. Because again, you're still good versus the run because he was a former linebacker. So he still has linebacker technique, but also has the footwork of a safety.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up Jalen Kilgore. I was just on the phone with my buddy Shane, who is just as into the draft as you are, and he brought up Kilgore, and to the same point you made about how, these guys at corner turn to safety, he compared him to Kobe Bryant, who the Bears just brought in from Seattle. So that's interesting, man. When I start to hear you guys who dial into this, and I start to hear the same things, kind of in different ways, that's where, the lightning bolt kind of goes off for me. And, as much as I like Thieneman, I'm a Purdue guy, I'd love to see Thieneman on the Bears. But if you can get that guy later in the draft, you might be able to get a better position to need early on.
And that's where you kind of want to focus. For me, I'm always looking at the first round in terms of how can you strike fast immediately. I know some parts of the draft you think in terms of development. A lot of times when you're talking about quarterbacks in the first round. But, man, when we're talking about first round, we're talking about I need you to be at your floor. Your floor needs to be right there by the ceiling. I need you to be plug and play, go get it. Everybody else, I'm willing to lower the floor a little bit and give you a little bit more of a leeway. But first round, I need to have as little questions about your ability to step in right now and go as possible.
Emory, man, appreciate it. Love how much respect, man. I appreciate how you get really deep into the weeds with some of these prospects that maybe the everyone else isn't necessarily talking about. Find those sleepers. It's great stuff. CBS Sports HQ.
Emory knew back in the day that Tyson Bagent undrafted. That's ridiculous. He should have been the second.
I'll tell you this. As soon as this young man caught that touchdown pass, guess who had the scout report up telling people he was good from a while ago because he went to Grand Valley State? That's Jade Walker. Nobody knew who he was. We had a grade on him, and we knew who he was going because he was like, well, why didn't have the production at Texas A&M? Because he was balling at Grand Valley State, and I graded him based off that too. So thank you guys.
All day Jade.
There we go.
That's awesome. Emory Hunt, owner of Football Gameplan, CBS Sports, and make sure you go check out the draft guide, footballgameplan.com. Thanks, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey, shout out to our friends at Carman. It's great to have Carman back on the program. We are all looking for ways to stand out at work. I mean, I just do it naturally because of my immense talent and brilliant takes. And
Sure, for Carman's sake, sure.
Some of us do it naturally by just showing up and looking awkward. And then there's
Not
Carman.
nice to say about Hoge.
No. This is just an elite individual that
Okay.
the comment really is talking about. What if I told you there's an easy way to save your company hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's really what they want you to know.
Now we're talking.
You can sign up for a free facility assessment from ComEd. Their engineer is going to come and give you free insights and actions that could help save your business on energy costs, which is huge, especially today. Basically, they're helping you create a plan to help you stand out and your business save for free. Visit ComEd.com/facility assessment to learn more. Actual savings will vary based on customers' usage and rate.
And new vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. This is your chance to score a great deal at the Declaration of Deals sales event. I'm actually having lunch with Ray today.
What are you going to eat?
I think I'm actually having lunch with Ray right now, believe it or not.
It's amazing how that's working out.
That's how great Ray is. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today, maybe while you're having lunch and watching the show, all at the same time. Choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram models. Yes, Carm?
No, he's a huge inventory. Steven's having his lunch right now, and it's disgusting to watch him eat it.
Right now, you can get 0% financing for 60 months on new vehicles, plus shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. You're always going to get Ray's price promise. What you hear, what you see, that's what you pay. They're not going to screw you over when you go in there. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
Enjoy that lunch.
That was an awesome conversation with Emory Hunt. I mean, Jade Walker underlined my incredible take on Lee Hunter.
He was scouting Theo Benedict for 2 years.
I love this guy.
I mean,
He's no Fran Duffy, but I love this guy. Shout out Fran Duffy.
they're all kind of a part of that universe,
friends
right?
with each other.
They're all part of that Marvel universe.
I actually think there needs to
right?
be more rivalry in there.
They're all friends, really? There's no rivalry? There's got to be rivalry.
Try to bait one of them to get into a fight at the Starbucks next year.
There was no Starbucks fight this year, was there?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Disappointing.
Is Mel Kiper friends with all of them, or does he sort of take on like a senior, none of you are as good as me role? Does anybody know?
I've never met Mel Kiper in my life.
I want to meet Mel Kiper. All right, that was the draft talk for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on to some NFL news. Apparently, replacement refs are just getting closer and closer to potentially happening. Ho, you want to update everybody on what the news on the replacement refs are because the NFL is not valuing the actual refs?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, I think this is part of this is pressure that the NFL continues to put on the NFL Referees Association. But I also think part of it is them covering their ass in case they need to actually have replacement refs. So, yeah, there was a memo that went out to teams basically saying, starting June 1st, they're going to start assigning some of these replacement refs to OTA's training camp to get them reps with teams, and then teams will be able to give their feedback too. So, I mean, this is a long, complicated way of saying, hey, this is your tryout if you're a college referee that wants to potentially get your shot here. I think it's an awkward spot to sort of be in because I also think refs probably want to band together here a little bit, and you want your shot at the NFL, but
don't want to cross the lines.
Yeah, you're filling in, then I don't know. But at some point you got to look out for yourself at the same time. I think this is a slippery slope. The NFL's holding firm on their stance. No surprise here. They, always try to bully the Players Association and the Referees Association, and typically, to their credit, the NFL's in a stronger position to negotiate and stand on their ground. And I think that's part of what's happening here. To get away from some of all that, the complicated nature of it, and probably the part that the fans care more about, is if we actually get to week 1 and there's replacement referees. We went through that disaster once. Now, what sort of got glossed over at the owners' meetings was this little rule, as I always like to say, they can do whatever the hell they want whenever they want. And they did pass this little rule this year that essentially says if there's replacement refs, we can make whatever call we want from New York.
Right.
Now, it's not quite that simple. There are some parameters to it. It's not quite every single rule, but it is essentially, to simplify, put in place so that if we do have to have replacement refs, and if those replacement refs suck, then we can come in over the top from New York and correct these calls, which, if we get to that point, I think fans and teams will appreciate getting the calls right. But I hope we don't get to that point. It doesn't sound good right now with the negotiations, the way they're going. The idea of replacement refs,
So,
I don't know.
Slightly uninformed question number 1. The people that are in New York who are watching plays on replay, are they not in the same umbrella of union or whatever as the refs themselves?
That's a great point, and I don't necessarily know the answer to that, but I think I'm thinking about, if you're...
Who's doing that job?
They would be out of there because they would, if you're in charge of officiating for the NFL, you work for the NFL now.
I mean, you probably could hire Greg Braggs to do that job, and you could sit in that room and be like, "That's a hold. That's 1 foot down. That's whatever."
Absolutely.
I would love that freaking job.
I'd love that job too.
Would you cross the line? Would you cross the referee line? They're like, "Hoge, we need you in New York. We'll pay you way more than you're getting paid at CHGO."
Temporary. Hey, look, we need another month here to figure out the ref thing. They're gonna cave in a month. They will. Can we borrow you?
Well,
I would do it for a month. I'm sorry, you guys will miss it. They'll be fine.
Steven, you think we'd be able to figure it out? Or, I mean, what? Yeah.
I think Hoge would do such a good job, we'd never see him again. I
think what I find interesting, and obviously, you're right that fans only care if, whether or not replacement refs are going to be there week 1, because we saw how this went the last time it came around. Now, there is kind of a funny memory for Bears fans because the most coveted moment of the replacement refs was the Fail Mary week 1 opening night, Seattle versus the Packers, and it screwed the Packers out of a win. So I'm actually kind of partial to the replacement refs because it pisses the Packers fans off every time you talk about it. But the pay part of it is interesting to me because I just think there's a lot of things that we don't understand as fans with them. I think most fans would think they are full-time employees, and they're not. And I did see Andrew Brandt was on the Ross Tucker podcast, and he said, and I quote, "From the referee's point of view, why would they be full-time if the pay does not equal what they make now between NFL and plus their full-time job? These are lawyers, they're judges, they work in aerospace. They don't want to be full-time unless the NFL pays them similar to the NBA refs and the Major League Baseball refs and the NHL refs, which they don't." And so, like, that part of it, I think most fans, including myself, guys are judges in aerospace.
What are the average?
So this is interesting too, and I want to shout out Rob Schwartz, friend of the program, diehard, whole bit in our chat all the time. He talked about the average of what you're asking. MLB umps for a salary make around $450,000, 140 games a year, kind of breaks down into $3,200 per game.
Steven just had a heart attack. Now leaving.
Hoge, I'm going to take the job.
NHL refs make about $480,000 per year. 73 games breaks down to about $6,500 per game. NBA refs, $550,000 for a salary. 80 games per year, $6,800 per game. And then with NFL refs, average with a new contract, Rob puts, $375,000 a year, but it's only 17 games, so that averages out to about $22,000 per game for these guys, where the other breakdown, so it's different from the other leagues because there's just shorter amount of games.
Right. Well,
but they're still making more per game.
Right.
Way more per game.
Right, 22,000 per game versus
Well, and that's where I think the refs are kind of split on the idea of being full-time. I don't think it's just about the money. I think some of them actually genuinely like the fact that they do other things and they don't want to have to quit those jobs. Some are like principals of schools and like I remember this. I was traveling to, I think it was like Houston one year, and I got on the shuttle at O'Hare and realized that another guy standing next to me had like a little tag on his bag, and he was an NFL referee. And I asked him, like, where are you going? And he's like, I'm off to Atlanta. Like he's just like the reporters that go like the day before the game, right? And they just fly in and out, they do the game and they leave. And during the week they have regular jobs. So but I think some of them like that way. If you make them full time, they have to quit those other jobs. I do think so you could argue, well, yeah, there's fewer games, so why should they be full-time? But, like, I think for the greater good of the NFL and for how many people depend on these calls to go right, full-time could entail in this time of year, studying,
bingo,
looking at tape, learning tendencies of players and coaches, actually understanding the game better, potentially, and what different teams, and they could do it as a group, like people from the NFL that actually maybe know the scheme of the game better could be teaching them. And then you get to OTAs, and instead of having these referees that are being called up like locally, we go to practice. They didn't used to have refs at practice. Now pretty much almost every practice has referees, but they're lower level referees. You only get a handful of practices in training camp where it's actually the NFL crews coming in, whereas they could actually be, working. But that would entail them moving to these cities, right? That's another part of this. Like because some of them live in like the middle of nowhere, Louisiana, right? 5 hours from where the New Orleans Saints practice, right? So it's not that's some of the things, when people, like, you would just assume, well, don't they want to be full-time? Well, no, a lot of them don't, because they would have to uproot their lives, and they're older adults like that have already, like, well into their careers. They might retire in 5 years, right? They don't want to all of a sudden be forced to, I got to go live in Kansas City because I'm going to have to, do all these practices, throughout the offseason, do all these other things. So it's a pretty complicated thing, to be honest.
Well, hold on 1 second here. First of all, the NFL salary cap this year is $301 million. It's a $22 million increase. The amount of money that is in the game is completely and utterly preposterous.
They got it.
Right. So we treat NFL football, college football, even high school football, depending on where you're at, as if it's more important than anything else on the face of the earth.
Because it is.
There you go. So the concept that with all that money, that you wouldn't have the people that are the integrity of the game and making it move along and having your product be as seamless and easy to digest as possible for the viewer at home or the people that are paying gargantuan amounts to be in the stadium, that you wouldn't have the people out there that know it through and through and are on it every single week because this is what they do full time, is insane to me.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I think the logistics of that are way more complicated than
That's
what
fine,
you're saying.
but like if you don't want to be a full-time ref, that's cool. You can be on the part-time roster.
Well, what if there isn't a part-time roster? This is what I'm saying, Carman. Let's just talk this out for a second.
Okay,
let's say the best referee X is the number one referee in the league, but he lives basically in, I don't know, he lives in Wyoming.
Okay.
And he is 5 to 10 years away from retirement. He's already making, as Greg pointed out, $300-something a year doing NFL games on top of whatever his full-time job is. Mm-hmm. So he's already been doing pretty damn well his entire career. All right, you're telling me now that I'm going to make more money, maybe double of what I've been making, but I was already making double when you counted my other job.
Correct.
That I had.
And I didn't have to move.
And now I have to move because I have to be available to do all these
Why does he have to move?
because of where they're at.
Because if they go full time, they're going to make them work all year. You have to go do this practice.
If the guy is that elite, figure out how to work with him. Let him do Zoom. He doesn't have to be.
They have to then do these practices.
Well, he's got to fly to that. He's going to have to travel more.
OTAs, training camp, all of these things.
So he's going to have to travel a little bit more.
But what I'm saying is that guy decides, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
So you just lost that referee. Now you go down the line. There's a world, Carman, what you're proposing, which I'm saying makes 100% sense. All of a sudden the NFL loses, I don't know, a quarter of their really good refs. And now they got to call up these replacement refs anyway on a full-time basis. I'm just trying to explain why this is not so black and white. All these years, and I used to be that guy. Why don't you just make them full-time? And then somebody finally explained all this to me, which is what I'm trying to do now. It's just not that easy. They don't want to be full-time.
Okay, I hear you.
Carm doesn't care about their families.
But and I don't. I do. I love family is important. But listen, they're not Patrick Mahomes. They're not. They're refs. They're replaceable.
Okay, then here come the replacement refs this year. We'll see how replaceable
the Packers get screwed, and then everyone freaks out.
Train them up. Hoge, honestly, how long do you think it would take if you were a full-time ref for you to actually learn the game well enough to do it? How long do you think it would take?
How long to be an NFL ref?
Yeah, how long do you think it would take? You're doing it on the daily. You're learning it intensely. You're whatever. You're reffing games along the way. How long do you think it would take you to truly?
Years.
I'm not trying
a decade of games.
Okay,
to be good enough to be an NFL official.
Okay, and I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm also saying that it's not like it's the hardest thing on the planet. It would be if I was the NFL, it would be worth something investing in. That's all I'm saying.
There's a lot on the line between all the money on the line, not just what people get paid, but the gambling that's in this stuff, and I'm not even that big of a gambler. I'm talking what's on the line for my team. I want them to get it right.
Is Ed Hockley still out there?
I don't think so.
Right, and the NFL's fine. We miss his guns. All right.
His son is, yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about our favorite Bears draft picks ever. But first.
Hey, if you're a regular viewer or listener to the show, and if you're there on a Friday in the offseason, that's probably you, or basically any CHGO show. We want to hear from you. If you think that Greg Braggs belongs back laying bricks on the daily, I can't. It's in the copy. I can't believe it. I don't know what you need to do. All you got to do, though, if you want that, is you take a short survey and you let us know what you love, what you don't love, and how you can be better. And, by the way, by doing this, you have a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card, which is sweet. All you got to do is head to allchgo.com/survey. Do that today, tomorrow, whenever. Get yourself signed up. If you're watching,
it only takes 3 minutes.
Right, and it's only 3 minutes. Scan the QR code; it's right there for you. You'll knock it down, and hey, maybe you'll be getting yourself $100, but you will be getting your thoughts out. Take the survey today. Scan the QR code on the screen. Head to allchgo.com/survey. That's allchgo.com/survey.
It's very nice of you, Carmen. I'm excited for all those surveys. Survey says
they already got me fired.
Bricklayer.
Yeah.
I was trying to take you down with me.
And let me ask you guys here. When the biggest sporting event in the world comes to our backyard, what are we doing? We're celebrating, Mark Carman.
We are.
We're going to celebrate with Don Julio, 1942, during the 2026 World Cup. Love the World Cup. There's few better events that have the intensity that the World Cup has. And with Don Julio 1942, that bottle is iconic, and they have 3 different options for the World Cup. They have the original, the icon of celebrations, the trophy for legends on and off the field, the mini for small but iconic moments. They have it all. The trophy, everyone can take home. So whether you're at your favorite spot or sticking up for home, make it Don Julio 1942 and be on the lookout for our U.S. men's national team watch parties that are going to be going on this summer.
Wrapping up the week as we take the temp. We're taking the temp courtesy of Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They, of course, have been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years, just like Mark Carman has. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all the special offers, money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Braggs, what are we taking the temp on?
We are taking the temp, having a little fun here. We dove deep into the draft here. Shout out Emory Hunt.
Shout out Greg for this outstanding taking the temp idea.
Yeah, and so I just kind of want to go back down memory lane.
Okay.
Your favorite Bears draft picks of all time.
You want me to go first?
I'm looking at you, kid.
Okay. So, of course, as the senior member of the staff,
Again,
the show,
serving Chicagoland for over 50 years, like 4 seasons.
yeah, as the leader of this show, quite frankly, as we've all been acknowledging on a daily basis lately, I will go back in time, and I'm going all the way back to 1986. And the draft that year included an 8th round. Used to be 10 rounds. This was in the 8th round. The Bears selected an outstanding special teams talent who nickname was Cool Mo D. Maurice Douglas, number 37 in your scorebook, number 1 in your heart. Cool Mo D, on the side, was a male stripper. and he also was a hooper. We would play ball, me and Mo Douglas, at the multiplex. We're the Bulls.
You did what?
Hoop. We hooped.
You did what with him at the strip club?
Cool Mo. He's still. I need to get Maurice Douglas on the show. Dude
You
was
absolutely do.
The dude was the greatest. He was incredibly fun, phenomenal athlete, great special teamer. Did it for many years for the Bears, and
Phenomenal athlete.
you were asking for
At the strip club.
for my favorite draft pick. I'm going back through the draft. This is taking the temp. This dude was hot, and Mo Douglas. So one day, I'm at a Bulls game, Section C.
Oh, Lord, take me.
You definitely should have went last.
Aisle 3. Well, you looked at me. You teed me up. I told you I was going old school on a Friday.
I didn't know you were going strip club.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, they weren't making the money back then. Speaking of our last segment on the refs, these dudes had to make extra dough. He was a special teamer. He wasn't getting rich, so he took advantage of it. And literally one day at a Bulls game, I'm sitting in my seats in the mezzanine. I looked to my left, and there he is, like a leather coat. It's a Friday night. It didn't seem like he had a seat. He was just hanging out at the stadium. And I was like, Maurice, what's up? And him and Donnell Wolford, Richard Dent, Otis Wilson. Otis Wilson once sent me across the lane. I nearly died playing pickup hoop. These guys all hung out. Maurice Douglas was a good player, too. Great special teamer, up your alley, Hoge. You would have loved him. He's, the Josh Blackwell of a different era with an extra flavor to him. Maurice Douglas, my all-time favorite Bears draft pick, 1986, 8th round. I almost went, who was in the 10th round that year? The Cosman, Glenn Kozlowski. And he would never have been a 10th round pick, but they blew up his knee in BYU because he talked so much shit. Oh, we can say that on a Friday, I guess. And
I guess.
No, you cannot. No,
actually. Probably can't.
The day of the week does not matter.
Well, that's a tough act to follow.
I
Hoge.
mean,
Yeah.
my answer is more normal.
What are you going to say, Braxton Jones? Braxton Jones.
No, my favorite draft pick of all time is not Braxton Jones. All due respect to Braxton Jones. I was going to say Devin Hester.
That's a good one.
Which was the segment I thought we were doing. Love Devin Hester coming out.
I mean, I could have said Walter Payton.
He's a
Hester.
Well, I envisioned this segment being guys we really liked coming out of college, who the Bears actually picked, and then ended up having a great career. And
of course you did.
And we're not male strippers.
Well,
you
know what? That was Carm's interpretation of the segment, and he went male stripper.
So, anyway, yeah, Devin Hester, I remember watching him at Miami. I remember watching his highlights before the draft. It was back when I was in college, and was like really hoping the Bears would pick him. They did. Obviously, went to the Hall of Fame when it was all said and done. One of the most exciting, if not the most. I've said this before. I think the most exciting Bear of my era. I think male stripper guy over here would probably make the case for Walter Payton. I would believe that too. But
very excited.
So that's my answer. Devin Hester.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, that's obviously an easy one, and I'm with you there. We were on the same boat.
Are you going to thread the needle somewhere between Devin Hester and male stripper?
Male stripper? No, I'm really not. I mean, I was going to just be normal too. Carm definitely should have finished this
Maurice
segment.
Douglas played 139 games in his career. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons with the Bears, 2 with the Giants. Cool Modi. What do you got there?
Pretty
I
good.
Can't wait for this answer.
I've never heard
I love Ozzy Pillow. I told you that. That's my favorite pick.
No, but I did tell my good friend Pete, who just turned 40 last week. Shout out Pete Lakich. When they drafted Devin Hester, I turned to him and I said, he's going to revolutionize the game of football. Because I was with you. Mm-hmm. Watched him at Miami. The guy just had some of the most unbelievable returns. You think they were unbelievable as a Bear. Watch his highlight reel in college at Miami. Truly special. I bought his jersey before we even got to training camp. And then once everybody started buying his jersey his rookie year, I bought his college jersey halfway through the year because I was mad that everybody was copying off me at that point. So shout out to Devin Hester. But that's the easy one. That's the low-hanging fruit. I get that. And no, I don't have anybody coming off a stripper pole. But I would say Alshon Jeffrey would be, for me, one of my favorite draft picks solely because they finally did something in that draft that made sense. This wide receiver out of South Carolina who clearly looked like he had first-round talent falls to you in the second round. You need a wide receiver. You haven't had a big-time player. At that time, we had never had good wide receivers to that level. And all of a sudden, we go to training camp. Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey are having the most unbelievable catches I've ever seen at a training camp. I remember standing in the stands at Bourbon Day and both of them making one-handed catches on the sidelines and turning, never seen that before. Never seen that before. And Alshon Jeffrey just immediately lived up to the hype. So I loved that pick. It just made sense. They finally did something that made sense, and it worked because he was good. And so in this era now of the Bears doing things that make sense, I just want to keep that theme going. Keep making moves that make sense.
That's really good.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a stripper pole guy. That's just ridiculous.
No, I won the segment. It's okay.
You did win the segment. You did win the segment.
Alshon's a good underlining. The making sense thing, by the way. I mean, honestly, if you were gonna do a real whatever, I don't know, man. Last year, Colston Love and Luther Burden pretty damn good.
Well, my other answer, in all seriousness, is Caleb Williams. Because I don't think there's a single prospect that I spent more time hyping up as saying, this is the dude, this is who the Bears have to pick, they have to do this, and then they did it, and now seemingly is working out. So,
yeah.
But it felt a little too easy because it's in the now. So I went a little, Hester's easy too, but a little bit more of a reminiscent.
Now, who was the guy that you were in love with in the draft that ended up not working out? Do you guys have any of? I have a very many of those.
Yeah.
Alonzo Spellman.
My first ever.
I always thought he wasn't good. Alonzo Spellman.
So, he could have been the greatest player ever if he didn't have the mental.
Yeah, I'm talking more I thought Joaquin Iglesias, wide receiver, was going to be good.
Yeah, I'm thinking more first round. My first ever Bears mock draft that I did, the first pick I made was Gabe Karimi, which of course was a big homer pick. But still to this day, I will die on the sword that Gabe Karimi would have worked out had he not gotten hurt. You know what I mean? He was their best offensive lineman already at the point where he got hurt in week 2 of that season.
I was excited for him just because I think every time a player gets drafted, I want to see their best path, the vision of their best path. Mm-hmm. But then I can remember being at training camp the first year that Gabe Karimi showed up. And I'd always be hawking the ESPN 1000 guys, and Yurko's like, he got toothpick legs, brother. He ain't going to be good. And I was like, damn it, Yurko. Why are you ruining this?
Such a buzzkill.
Get away from me, Yurko. But he was right.
See, that stuff matters, though, and it's a little bit of a Braxton Jones issue. And they're not toothpicks, but they're not the tree trunks.
Braxton Jones is also a 5th-round pick, not first round.
Right.
Right.
Which makes a difference.
Well, and Braxton's put on a bunch of weight. Steven, you got something you want to jump in on?
Yeah. For me, I don't need to go back very far at all. It was last year on our day 2 of our draft night. It was Luther Burden for me because he was a guy that you guys probably remember on the shows.
You were
leading
in love
up.
with him.
I was, and I thought there was no chance the Bears were going to take a wide receiver in either of the first 2 rounds. And it was kind of this moment of shock when we see it come through Twitter and you guys kind of start looking at me and I didn't realize it yet. And then I see it come through. I'm like, there's no way we just got Luther Burden, who I considered going into that college football season. I thought he was the best receiver in the draft. And then, he didn't have the best production that year. Ted McMillan ended up being the better receiver, at least going into that draft. And now Luther Burden has a chance to be the best receiver out of all of them there. Travis Hunter is going to play mostly corner now. Ted McMillan, he's had a really good year, but I think Luther Burden can do the same, if not better. So for me, that was the one because it was like this embarrassment of riches of, wow, we have 3 stud wide receivers now. And then it ended up we had 2 stud tight ends as well. And our quarterback turned into a stud. And we have Ben Johnson coming in to run the offense. Everything just kind of fell into place. Luther Burden's my pick.
Okay. 2 guys that on each side of the ball out of Vanderbilt that I was in love with, Earl Bennett and DJ Moore, Nickelback. I love DJ Moore. Coming out, I loved him. Then as soon as he had that energy about him, Earl Bennett will always be one of my favorite wide receivers. That's kind of like the unsung hero guys. I loved his game.
Yep. Well, as we wrap up the show, just a reminder that 2 weeks from yesterday will be the first of our draft parties. 2 weeks from today will be the second of our draft parties. Come on out to the draft party. Joe's on Weed Street. $10 to get in, $65 all you can drink. Sponsored by our friends at IDOT. Take an Uber. Have a designated driver come with you if you're going for the $65 package. It's going to be a ton of fun.
AllCHGO.com/events.
AllCHGO.com/events. Maurice Douglas might show up.
Who's winning the Masters, Hogue? Who is going to win?
Now you're asking me to see the future.
Well, you did last year. You called Rory. And by the way, I watched Rory McIlroy has a documentary on Amazon Prime that just came out like a week ago. It's fantastic.
I know it. Because it followed him last year, right?
What?
It followed him last
Correct.
year.
Correct. Did all 18 holes, and then in between each hole, it would go back and tell an older story
I'm
about
actually
him.
watching that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With Ray Scarpelli. And I didn't know his whole story.
Yeah.
So, watching that through and not realizing that he was going to blow it that many times.
Yeah.
My hand was on my head so many times during that documentary.
Well, Rory obviously had a great Thursday. Last I checked, my guy Xander Schauffele, which is my pick, is still
What about Ben Hogan?
in good shape. So
Ben Hogan, you got a chance?
yeah, it's just.
What about Sam
Tune
Snead?
in Monday to see if Mark Carman still works here.
What about
Carm golfs with wooden sticks. Literally. We went out one time and he brought out literally wooden golf clubs.
I like the golf bag, too.
I'm so excited for Sunday. The greenery. The grilled cheese sandwich. Oh, amen, corner. Amen. It's over. Go Masters.
Would you rather?
It's where does the Rory winning the Masters last year rank in the best sporting events of the entire year? And this guy's hating on it.
It's got to
It's
be
got
up
a
there.
case for number one.
Would
finally
you
break
rather?
through.
No, it doesn't.
Carm,
Yes, it does.
would you rather
I'd
be
rather watch
at Sunday at the Masters?
Yeah.
Or be at the strip club with Mo D?
Well, come on. Shout out Mo D. Shout out all you golf fans. You have a great weekend. Hogue, do you have any final words?
No, he wants to go.
I'm really looking forward to the next 2 days of watching golf. And Steven and Greg, you're invited.
I'm
actually, shout out Papa Hogue. Tomorrow's his birthday, and we are going to the Blackhawks game.
Yeah.
birthday, Papa.
Yeah.
They're inducting Duncan Keith and our guy Troy Murray. Rest in peace. Love
RIP.
Troy into the Blackhawks Hall of Fame. First Blackhawks. It's going to be a fun weekend. And then we got Masters on Sunday.
I think it's the final Bulls home game tonight. Bulls Magic.
I'm
don't care about
going
that.
to Indianapolis with my wife. We're going to a comedy show. She's never been to St. Elmo's. I'm going with her
Wow.
to St.
Who
Elmo's.
you seen?
We are seeing a comedian named Amber Autry. She's
Oh, yeah, you
very
told me
funny.
about
You and Jenny on a Greg Jenny weekend?
Greg Jenny weekend in Indianapolis. She's never been to St. Elmo's, and I think this is going to be my last time ever going to St. Elmo's. I love St. Elmo's, but not to sound like a completely spoiled medium. We've been there too many times. It's-
You're finally reached that point because
enough
I've been
of
there for
St.
like 5
Elmo's.
years already, but you guys haven't experienced it, so I've been coming.
Dude, everybody's hyping up livery. I want to go there now.
We went there a few years ago.
Oh
Were
yeah,
you not
that's
with
right.
us?
That's right.
That place is great, and then I'm telling you, Prime is better.
I'm over St. Elmo's. But Jenny's never been there, so I'm taking Jenny to St. Elmo's. Then we're doing the comedy show. Then we're going to paint the town red. So if you're in Indy, come find us. I'll get you a drink.
Have a great time. We'll see you Monday.
We all silly like the